If you went home tonight from work and found that someone, say a lost relative, had left you $10 million, would you be at work tomorrow? This huge no rang out across the whole stadium. And I can remember sitting there thinking to myself, no, I wouldn't go to work tomorrow. I loved what I did. As a believer, I sort of believed that God had called me to this work, but it really held no real value to me. In fact, I started thinking, I'd go do something important with my life. Maybe I'd go back to seminary, become a pastor, or maybe become a missionary. Because see, back in those days, I thought that only really pastors and missionaries were on the cutting edge of what God was doing on the world. And really, as a businessman, a guy working in commerce, I really thought I was a second-class citizen in the kingdom of God. And if you had asked me back then, Hugh, what do you do that's important with your life? I would have told you this. I would have said, well, I'm an elder at my church. I teach adult Sunday school. I sit on a couple Christian nonprofit boards. I never in a million years would have said, I run a computer company to the glory of God. That just was not in my thinking at all. In fact, I saw no connection with what I did every day to what God was doing in the world. The more I began to think about this, the more it troubled me. And so I did what you always do when you have a spiritual conflict. You'll talk to your pastor. And my pastor said, well, Hugh, God's just giving you the ability to make money so you can bring it to the church so we can do good things with it. Now, even back then, I thought that can't be right. And so there were a couple guys in my church that were professors at a seminary there in Orlando called Reformed Theological Seminary. They said, Hugh, what you ought to do is come take some classes with us and maybe you'll find the answers you're looking for. Well, that's what I did. Interestingly enough, their campus was right across the street from my office. And I started taking a few classes at night, and it didn't take me long to realize they had no answers in regard to this idea of the importance of my work. They really could not tell me anything. Interestingly enough, I started finding the answers in some things that I was reading in some of the classes I was taking. I read some stuff by Francis Schaeffer and by another guy named Abraham Kuyper. And really, they started talking about the importance of work. And they really led me back to people in the Reformation, guys that have been dead for 500 years, like Martin Luther and John Calvin. And I really began to realize that the entire Reformation was keyed around this idea that your work is important to God. And it doesn't matter what that work is, whether you're a dishwasher or you're running a Fortune 500 company, your work is still important to God, and you're an important piece in what we would call today commerce. And God really cares about that. In fact, Martin Luther once said, the work of the milkmaid is just as important to God as the work of the priest. That was heresy in his day. It's still heresy in a lot of churches today, unfortunately.